The conversation relating to debt mitigation and capital leverage has to become a more commonplace conversation. Myself and kids, we normally have a weekly challenge where we test their skills on financial intelligence. And one of the challenge we had, the financial intelligence challenge that we had over the years, centered around looking at, is it better to cancel the debt, or is it better to leverage the excess liquidity? Now, this is a very important financial intelligence question for you to ask yourself. Now, what we have seen is that the average person may have major difficulty relating to this. Is it better to cancel the debt, or is it better to leverage the excess liquidity? Now, let me give a practical example of what this will look like. Now, let us suppose that you are taking a debt to purchase a home, and the debt that you're taking is $500,000 US dollars. The term or life cycle of that debt is 30 years, and the APR interest rate is 6%. What exactly does all of this mean in terms of financial intelligence? And these are things that you would need to break down to ensure that you understand it, so you're able to make an informed and educated decision as to whether it makes sense to cancel this debt if you're to come into, a decent amount of monies, or if to leverage the excess liquidity in a smart way. Which one would you do? Now, let me further explain what this debt represents. A debt based on the terms I would have established early on means that you are making monthly payment to this debt amounting to the sum of $2,997.75. And you will have an obligation to make this payment over 360 months. So when you do a total sum up of how much you're paying over this 360 months, it sums up to $1,079,190.95. And this is the total sum that you're paying over this 30-year cycle. Now, what is the total APR or interest rate on this sum? The total APR interest rate on this sum is $579,190.95. So when you look at the interest that you're paying back on the principal sum, you can see the interest is one time and above the principal balance that you have borrowed. Now, I'm not here to say to you whether you're paying a high sum for this, for the principal balance. It may be a very fair sum because 30 years, you have inflation that is taking place, and most of all, you're getting access to capital to leverage it. And if you know really how to leverage it in a smart way, several things can happen. You can build wealth this way. You can get financial independence this way. So several things could happen. So I'm not here to hit on banks or hit on any financial institution based on the cost that the individual is going to be paying for the capital over a period of time. But my concern here also, as I would ask my kids, would it make sense to pay down or pay off this interest early? Or would it make sense to leverage the excess liquidity into income producing assets? Now, let me give some example on what it means if I pay down on this debt early. Several things is going to happen. In debt mitigation on this particular debt portfolio, four main things are going to occur here. I will be able to reduce the debt term meaning the debt life cycle. Because I'm reducing the debt term, I'm able now to reduce the debt cost. Because I'm able to reduce the debt cost, I'm now able to exit this debt portfolio much earlier. And because I'm now able to exit this debt portfolio earlier, I now have the equity available to me, and that gives me equity leverage. So it's very clear that if I decide to mitigate the debt through debt cancellation, there's tremendous benefits here. But still, the financial intelligence question that you want to ask yourself, is it better to focus on debt cancellation, or is it better to focus on capital leverage? That's the question of the day. And I'm trusting that your financial advisor, your support systems in terms of finance can really help you to navigate this, because very often the cancellation of the debt may not in all cases be the best thing to do when your focus is on cash flow optimization and massive wealth accumulation. And these are things that you would really need to work with your expert to help you to understand. Now, the possibility exists that with debt mitigation, you may be able to reduce your debt life cycle, reduce your debt cost, exit the debt portfolio early, and have equity, while at the same time you're going to save hundreds of thousands of dollars on that same debt portfolio. That's good. But let us just suppose that you come into a $600,000 and you now have that money to pay off that debt. When you pay it off, you're debt free, you save some money, and you have the equity. But that $600,000 gone, it gone. So examples that we would tend to look at with the kids, what if we were to take that $600,000 and instead of doing debt cancellation, we focus on smart investment portfolios, and we are able to identify 6 income producing assets, allocate perhaps $100,000 to each of them, and you're now able, because they're giving you positive cash flow, you're now able to take one of them and have one of them commit to the debt cancellation. You still achieve that, but at the same time you have 5 additional income producing assets that is working for you even when you sleep. Again, this is not investment advice. We would have to look at individual cases, specific circumstances, and then make recommendations in terms of smart, intelligent pathways that you can use to start positioning yourself to build wealth. And this is exactly why we have built out the High Net Worth Investors Guide, is to really help you to understand these concepts and to own them and master them as you position yourself to come into financial independence. My name is Gary Thompson. I'm a private equity investor. I'm also the author of several books, and I trust that you would have enjoyed today's nugget. Be blessed and see you in the next broadcast. Oh, just before I go, remember to like, subscribe, and share so you will be the first to get these nuggets that we're bringing to you on a regular basis.